James with Ford Muscle Magazine, and I'm extremely happy to have Rob Herrod here in the booth with us to talk more about everything Rob's done for the Australian market and the world market in general. So Rob, you're a Ford guy, naturally you got the shirt and everything else, everybody knows you HPE. What is your beginning with Ford in the performance aspect?
Probably my beginning with Ford goes back in the year early 2000s, when the guy that was in charge of motorsport for Ford Australia come to me wanting my workshop to become a skunk works for Ford Australia with supercars. He had nowhere internally to work at Ford in the facility, and come to me and basically made me a skunk works, which was really cool because at the time I was just a normal guy working on doing what I do, loving what I do, with a lot of Ford people following me, but I was never really into branding my brand. And he said to me, we need to make your brand a world-known brand because of what you do. You do good work, let's get you tied up with Ford. And we become Herrod Motorsport, it was called back then.
Yeah.
So we done that, and then we worked on many Falcons and so forth. Used to go all the supercar rounds with Howard, this guy's name was Howard. Do all the rounds with him, do the development on future supercars and come whatever. But the main thing was we started developing our own components to sell to Ford dealers, the hot rod Ford Falcons.
Yes, at the dealership level.
At dealership level, but we were never known to be, we were never part of Ford, we were an associate of Ford, we could never say we were Ford, but everyone knew Herrod was the chosen brand of Ford. And then what happened as time progressed, Falcon got shut down, whatever, Herrod brand, everyone used to copy what we would manufacture. We would innovate and others would copy,
yeah,
which really annoyed me. But when we heard Mustang was coming, I really wanted to get involved with Ford racing parts.
Yes.
And I pursued my dreams and come to SEMA. I got to meet the right people at SEMA, the right people at PRI. I kept introducing myself to the Ford people. And it was the first year when PRI come back to Indianapolis. I got invited to a Hot Rod Magazine barbecue and met up with some Ford guys there. And they said, Rob, why aren't you selling our parts? You're amazing what you do. I said, I can't get an account. Come and see us tomorrow. I went and seen them the following day. Met up with Jamie Allison, I think he was the boss of Ford Racing back then, and Wayne Jeffrey. And we become a Ford parts dealer, which was the start of me wanting to move into Mustang, using, instead of me developing my own components, using Ford product and being endorsed by the factory.
Yes.
That's the most important thing about it all. Being able to use the Ford logo on our work clothing, on our advertising, because we're a Ford Performance parts deal. It meant the world. It gives you that upper level, right? So now, when we got going, so look, I want to build hot rod Mustangs and blah blah blah. And what became really apparent was they really wanted to use my brand.
Yes.
It was not just about Ford racing, it was about Herrod and Ford. And one of the great things about it was I said, this is how I'm going to build a car, I want to supercharge it, and I'll cover the warranty. And one of the things that come out was, no Rob, if you're going to build it, we'll help you with warranty.
Nice.
And that was, to me, was a real big, that's faith in, between both of us.
Exactly.
So time went by and Mustang was eventually released in Australia, and we basically started doing Herrod Mustangs using Ford Performance superchargers, their suspension kits.
That was an addition of the 6th and 7th or 5th and 6th generation.
Correct. So So when that's when we got that back in Australia. But one of the things that has to happen in Australia for us to sell a vehicle, I wanted to sell vehicles through dealerships, not just someone driving in the driveway and we fit a supercharger and it goes out the door and it's not legal.
Yeah. In
Australia, it's very harsh for noise, all this stuff. Everyone else goes about their work without worrying about these laws. But for me, I wanted to build road cars that were road legal.
Yes.
And drove like a proper Ford engineered vehicle.
Yes.
It's very easy to hot rod something, but it's very hard to OE hot rod something.
Yes, very much.
And I'm very good at doing that. So we moved along with that for a number of years, and eventually Ford Australia come to me and said, Rob, you've done all these things, you've got the second stage vehicle manufacturer, how can we work together? And it went on for probably about 2 years of pushing and throwing, and all the certifications that I got done, they had to double check and triple check that all the data I was giving them and then what the Australian government had was real, because you're talking with Ford Motor Company. They can't risk anything.
Yes.
So everything that I had testing done for us, they retested it at all their facilities, and we come back clean. So from there, where we thought we'd only be able to sell a supercharger or a car into a dealer, it actually turned into a full-blown collaboration, Herrod and Ford, 500 build road car, which something really unheard of, because it's a proper collaboration. It's not like other aftermarket companies where they'll buy the bits and pieces and they'll sell it to a Ford.
Yeah.
I actually took over the Ford plant in Australia where they used to build Falcon and development cars, and the plant was registered in my name, and the cars were sold as Herrod vehicles, not Ford vehicles, which was pretty sharp.
Yeah.
You know, I remember being at one of these shows, or I've been over at Ford for something, and I come back to the plant where we're doing what they call a slow build, which is working out how the car will run down the production line and what time it will take. I remember going in there and they were fitting these mufflers with Herrod Performance, because we had to develop our own exhaust to meet the noise laws, which our good friends at Baller manufacture for us. And it was amazing to walk into this plant, inside a Ford plant, and they're bolting Herrod parts.
Oh yeah.
It was mind-blowing, right, to me. And I walked away feeling pretty proud. But I walked out the door, still the same guy.
Yeah, still.
And then it took a few more months, maybe a lot longer than that. Then we went into a production build right at the start of COVID. And it was hard. And we had probably 200 people working on a production line, but we built 500 cars through COVID.
Yeah, through COVID.
Yeah.
So did that transpire the future events of you having the Supercar engine building, the Ranger Raptor?
So
all the racing.
So that car eventuated, was all sold right through COVID. And then, of all things, my daughter was having a baby.
Yeah.
And I had to go up to the Gold Coast, which is a 3-hour flight away from where I live. Eventually I got there through all quarantines and so forth. And with the COVID stuff, I decided to stay up there. I had a bit of time on my sleeve. And my good friend Dick Johnson, who
Dick Johnson Racing, right?
Dick Johnson Racing, which in Australia is a Shell V-Power racing team.
Yep.
Back then it was DJR Team Penske, which Roger Penske owned part of.
Yes.
I basically become their general manager, because one of our friends was very ill, who was working there. So I filled in for him for X amount of months. But then at the end of last year, our engine facility had a few little issues, and I got approached to become the development engineer for the Gen 3 Supercar, which is the supercar of the future, like what your NASCAR of the future is going to be.
That's going to be a 5.4 liter.
So we started off with a 5.2, and we found that we stroked it to 5.4. And we've developed this engine. It makes 630 odd horsepower, unrestricted, with a 80mm throttle body and so forth. But the bottom line is it's trying to reduce cost to the teams.
Yes.
And what it's enabled us to do is every Ford team will purchase their engine, a controlled engine, through Herrod.
Yeah.
I work directly with the Ford racing team in Dearborn to develop this engine, so it's a proper factory-backed thing. It's not just me on my own. It's support of the factory. So every Ford team next year will run a Herrod Performance engine. We have
how many teams? 11 teams?
There'll be 11 cars. It's not 11, so there's 11 cars on the field. It may become 12, but it's pretty cool that we've gone from this, just being what we do, building cars. We've now we've got an official sanctioned production car with Ford. I've run the race team. Now we're building the official engines for every supercar team. That's pretty cool.
Very, very cool. And the Ranger Raptor, did that just get...
Ranger Raptor, the next generation Ranger Raptor's just been released.
Yep.
And we're only a small part of it, of a team that run a Ranger Raptor in the Baja 1000.
Completed it, 26 hours.
Whatever the hell it was.
Still.
It won its class. It won the class below and it won the class above. And everyone at Ford is so proud of that vehicle. I'm very proud because the Herrod name is all over
that one.
All over that vehicle.
Yes.
I'm very proud of that. So, and we're looking at Herrod actually doing some modifications to that Ranger Raptor because we've got call on it.
And that one is coming to America too. So that's not Australia Mark Jim Farley said it's coming to America. Ranger Raptor will be here.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an awesome platform. So what is next for you? I mean, you've already done the production base, you've done the racing side. What's the next step?
We've got to get through the launch of Supercars next year.
That's
the most important thing. It starts in March.
Yeah, okay.
So we've got to make sure, we're on top of everything.
Yep.
I'm not saying we're behind, we're not. We are really on top of everything that we need to do. But we've still got to race.
Yes.
Until we start racing, we're doing a lot of testing. We've had thousands of hours of testing, but until you get 11 Mustangs on the grid, with different drivers and everything, well, who knows?
So Ford's definitely taken over the old Holden spot by far in Supercar.
I think so. Like the backing of Ford Motor Company in Supercars is second to none. The support Herrod get, the Shell V-Power Racing Team, which is a homologation team for homologation. The support is phenomenal.
That's awesome.
But in the next breath, Chevrolet is very good too. The people at Chev are right behind Supercars with.
It's a good battle, to say the least.
It's going to be a good battle, yeah. So the old Ford versus Holden is finished.
Yeah.
Now it's Chev versus Ford versus Chev.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you're still doing your own work on the shop and everything else?
I'm still hands-on.
Yeah.
I'm still hands-on. Like the last 12 months, I've been very heavily involved in the engine shop.
Yep.
But I fly back to Melbourne, because my engine shop's on the Gold Coast. I fly back to Melbourne. We've got, at the moment, I think we've got orders for 80-odd Mustangs, Herrod Mustangs, with around 60K on each job, lined up, ready to go. We're just waiting on cars. So we've got lots of work.
Lots of work ahead of you.
Lots of work.
But your past shows that you'll be able to knock it out no problem.
Yeah, my team, I've got very, very good people. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm capable, I'm a good guy, I know what I'm doing, I know I do the right thing. But I'm only one person out of a team of people.
Yep.
Without that team, I'm nobody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rob, once again, thanks for stopping by.
James, thank you so much, sir.
Great talking with you, and
Thank
we
you.
look forward to more stuff, and hopefully it'll come to America soon.
Thank you.